Aid me, New England, 'tis my hope in you, which gives me strength my purpose to pursue. Do you not hear your sister states resound with Africa's cries to have her sons unbound? Such was the trumpeting call published in the inaugural issue of a newspaper called The Liberator. Its editor, founder, and frequent contributor was William Llyod Garrison, and through this outlet and others, he contributed significantly to the abolitionist movement. William Llyod Garrison was born in Newburyport, Massachusetts on December 10, 1805. His parents were immigrants from then British Canada who moved to America in search of better work for his father, who was a merchant seaman. However, he did not find it because of the crippling Embargo Act of 1807, which especially affected the shipping industry. After losing his job, Garrison's father abandoned the family in 1808, forcing William's mother to raise the family alone. In his early years, he did small errands to support the family and showed a special interest in journalism and printing. By the age of 13, Garrison was ready to begin his career as an apprentice for the Newburyport Herald in Massachusetts, and later he collaborated with another printer, Isaac Knapp, on the paper called the Free Press. Although the newspaper was short-lived, Garrison acquired many skills that later helped him as a writer against slavery. At age 25, Garrison joined the American Colonization Society, an organization that promoted manumission of slaves. However, as time went on, only a few people wanted the manumission of slaves, most realizing that this goal would be unreachable, and the majority wished to reduce the number of free slaves by sending them back to Africa. By 1830, Garrison rejected this organization and started working as the co-editor to an anti-slavery paper called The Genius of Universal Emancipation. On January 1st, 1831, Garrison stepped into the public arena with the publication of the first issue of The Liberator, what would become the most well-known and most well-read pro-abolition newspaper in the North. Its official motto, listed in the first issue, reads, "Our country is our world, our countrymen are mankind." Garrison fiercely declared that, "I will not equivocate, I will not excuse, I will not retreat a single inch, and I will be heard." His radicalism and outspokenness for the immediate emancipation of all slaves in America woke the fiery embers of division. At the behest of enraged Southern slaveholders, the state of Georgia offered $5,000 for Garrison's capture. Garrison replied, "I am aware that many object to the severity of my language, but is there not cause for severity? I will be as harsh as truth and as uncompromising as justice. On this subject, I do not wish to think or speak or write with moderation. No, tell a man whose house is on fire. Tell him to moderately rescue his wife. Tell the mother to gradually extricate her babe from the fire into which it has fallen, but urge me not to use moderation in a cause like the present." In 1832, William founded the Anti-Slavery Society of New England, the first society in the country to advocate immediate emancipation of all slaves. It was responsible for plans to incorporate freedmen into society and publish journals and propaganda against slavery. It is quite interesting to note that the South, as so often assumed, was not the first to call for secession. Many abolitionists called for disunion long before the South ever did, and Garrison even wrote that the Constitution should be destroyed. In one instance, he publicly burned a copy of it, drawing ever-increasing amounts of attention to his intense rhetoric. Garrison's hard, occasionally radical work paid off, and after 35 years and 1,820 issues, he published his last issue of The Liberator in December of 1865, shortly after the Civil War was won. Although he is most well known for his abolitionism, he was also a strong-voiced advocate who contributed to other causes. In fact, his advocacy for women as well as slaves created a distinct faction apart from the original abolition movement that extended the principles of equality to women as well as men. He spent the final 14 years of his life as a supporter of pacifism, temperance, and women's suffrage. He passed away on May 24, 1879, as the most critical contributor to abolition. Although often marginalized and ignored in today's history classes, his voice was the light that millions of Americans heard call out from the darkness of slavery and human bondage. He might be forgotten by all but a few, but his impact is what changed America's future, our present. His words and the values they stand for are what Americans honor today when we recite the words, freedom and justice for all. "I will not equivocate, I will not excuse, I will not retreat a single inch, and I will be heard." His radicalism and outspokenness for the immediate emancipation of all slaves in America woke the fiery embers of division. At the behest of enraged Southern slaveholders,